Hey, this is our week 3 help video, and um, we already went through video 1 through 6, and we are now going through number 7 through 16. So, all these problems were being asked to solve them using the elimination method. Okay, the elimination method. So, using elimination, remember, we are trying to eliminate either the x's or the y's, one of the variables, doesn't have to be x's and y's, one of the variables, okay, by either making them the same or making them opposites. So the big key is if they're the same, we're going to subtract the equations. If we have opposites, we're going to add the equations. So when I look at number 7, 8, what I notice immediately is that I have a 3x and a 3x. Okay, those are the exact same value for my two equations. So since those numbers are the same, I'm going to subtract my equations. Now, my personal preference, if I'm going to use subtract, is I just go ahead and change the signs. So that's minus, that's a positive, now it's minus, that's a positive, now it's minus, so that I can visually see what I am doing. And now let's put them together. That's 0. I would get 2y, and 6 minus 18 is negative 12. So, solve that equation, so divide both sides by 2, and y is negative 6. Now, we want to use that equation to help us now figure, or that answer to now figure out our x. So, choose one of the two equations. It's your choice. Choose whichever one you like. I like this top one, so I'm going to use that one. I know the answer for y is negative 6, so that means I'm putting a negative 6 where the y is. So that'd be 3x plus 4 times negative 6 equals 6. And then I solve this equation. Go ahead and multiply that out first. X is on the left, so add 24 to both sides. I would get 3x equals 30. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals 10. So as an ordered pair, this would be 10, negative 6. Okay? Now, in number 9, 10, okay, if I look at my x's and my y's, unfortunately I do not have opposites. So we want to be creative in figuring out a way to either make our x's the same or opposites, or our y's the same or opposites. In this particular one, I'm going to work with the y's on this particular problem. So what I notice is that I have a 1y on top and a negative 2y on the bottom. So one of the options for solving this is I can multiply the top equation by 2. I'm going to leave the bottom one alone. So I'm going to rewrite what my equations are. Remember, if I'm multiplying this top one by 2, I got to multiply everything. So 2 times 8x is 16x. 2 times 1y is 2y. And 2 times negative 26 is negative 52. Okay? The bottom one, we are leaving exactly the same. So it's just x minus 2y equals 1. And now notice, in my y's, I have opposites. I have a positive 2y on top and a negative 2y on the bottom. So since these are opposites, I'm going to add the equations together. Okay, so 16x plus 1x is 17x. That's 0. Negative 52 plus 1 is negative 51. Excuse me. Divide both sides by 17, and x equals negative 3. So I have one of my answers. I figured out the x. Now I can make my choice of which one I want to work with. Now I think I'm going to work with the bottom one. So I'm going to work with this x minus 2y equals 1. I know the answer for x is negative 3, so I'm going to put that in its place. Now I solve the equation. Add 3 to both sides. I get negative 2y equals 4. Divide by negative 2, and y equals negative 2. Negative 3, negative 2 would be my answer. Now the last one with elimination, here, I notice that, again, just like in 9 and 10, I do not have a way, I don't have like x's that are the same or y's that are the same. I don't have opposites. So I'm unable to just get the, just add or subtract. So again, I'm gonna have to be creative in making this happen. Now this time, I'm gonna work with my x's, and I'm gonna remind you of the little trick that we had talked about that you can use in order to make opposites with your front numbers when it looks like this. So the top one, I'm gonna multiply by 2. The bottom one, I'm going to multiply by 5. So right now, if I multiply this out, because I just switched the numbers, 2 times 5x is 10x. 5 times 2x is also 10x. Those are the same. So if I left it like that, I would subtract. But I prefer to make opposites. So then I'm just going to choose to make that one a negative. That way this bottom equation is going to have a negative 10x. The top one already has a positive. So let's write our new equations. The top, everything multiplied by positive 2. 10x plus 4y equals 40. The bottom one, everything multiplied by negative 5. So it'd be negative 10x. Now here's where you gotta be careful. Negative times negative, this is positive 15y. And negative 5 times negative 11 is positive 55. Now, from here, I got my opposites, add the equations together. So that's 0. Now I'd get 19y equals 95. Solve the equation. Divide by 19, and y is 5. Choose which one you want to work with, and I personally am going to choose the top one this time. So we got 5x plus 2y equals 20. I know the answer for y is 5, so I'm going to put the 5 where the y is. So I got 5x plus 2 times 5 equals 20. 2 times 5 is 10. And I solve the equation. Subtract 10 on both sides. 5x equals 10. Divide by 5. And x equals 2. So my answer would be 2, 5. Okay. Now, 13 and 14. Okay, these next two problems, it says we would want to solve using the substitution method. Now, substitution is typically used when we have an equation that is solved. So it's got a letter that's isolated by itself. So I'm going to create a new equation by substitution here. 13, 14, that notices the bottom one has the y by itself, so I know y is equal to the expression 4 minus x. So what I need to do is look for the y in my other equation, and I'm going to remove the y, and I'm going to put that in its place. Okay, so my new equation is going to look like this. 4x plus, and then this is going to take the place of that y. And that's the equation I solve. Now be careful when solving this equation, okay? Because these x's are already on the same side. You just got to put them together. So 4x minus 1x is 3x. And now I can solve. Minus 4. I get 3x equals 3. Divide by 3 and x equals 1. Now, plug this in. Choose the one you prefer. I prefer this bottom one. I think it's simpler to use. So I know the answer for x is 1. So I'm putting a 1 where that x is. And 4 minus 1 is 3. So x is 1, y is 3 would be my answer. So 15, 16, this is similar, not the same. What I notice on 15, 16 is the bottom one again has the letter by itself, but this time it says x equals. So the expression 2y minus 11, I want to substitute for the x. So it's going to look a little different with our equation. I'm going to have 5, I'm removing the x, and I'm putting 2y minus 11 in its place. Now I do need the parentheses on this because I'm going to have to distribute. Minus 6y equals negative 47. And we got to solve this equation. So distribute. 10y minus 55 minus 6y equals negative 47. Okay, remember these y's are on the same side, so I can just put them together. 10y minus 6y is 4y. And solve the equation. Add 55 to both sides. It's going to give me 4y equals 8. Divide by 4, and y equals 2. Choose which equation you want to work with. It's your choice. Whichever one you perceive is easier. My perception is this bottom one that is solved is simpler to use. So x equals 2y minus 11. My y value is 2, so I'm putting a 2 in that place. So I'd have 2 times 2. Whoa, that's ugly. I can't even read that. 2 times 2 minus 11. That'd be 4 minus 11, which is negative 7. Okay? So this answer should be negative 7, positive 2.